Doug Saunders, the legend that is, welcome to GolfPunk. We're very proud to have you in our magazine. Um, just wanted to have a little chat about your career. 23 wins on the tour. How do you reflect on your career now?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, I only had 20 wins on the regular tour, but I won the World Seniors, and a lot of tournaments around the world. But one thing to tell you, you realize that there's only been 3 golfers to turn pro in the last 40 years in the world to win more tournaments now.
Wow.
That's Phil Mickelson, B.J. Singh, and Tiger. But Palmer and all those guys, they turned pro 45, 50 years ago. But in the last 40 years, that's only been 3 of them to win more than 20 tournaments.
That's quite an achievement.
Well, yeah, but that's the good thing. The bad thing, the money was not quite the same
Yeah.
when I was playing in this today. But of course, the life that you live, that we've lived out there, has been something that you couldn't have bought it with this stuff. Because it was only done from the great things and your friends and your people that you loved and you spent with. And that's what money is worth to me, is friendship.
I mean, back in the day, going on tour was just like a big adventure, wasn't it? And it was fun. I mean, nowadays the pros kind of, on the US tour at least, stay in their rooms at night a lot and they don't sort of socialize, but back in the day it was different, yeah?
Well, we knew the wives' names, the kids' birthdays, and we partied together and everything and had dinner, at the places and everything. But then, of course, the money, we didn't think about money as much as they do today, because you just made enough, to live, to keep going and have a great time. But today you're making, millions and millions and millions and tens of millions if you do this and that and the other. And their whole life has changed. And yes, it's more of a, today, put it in the words, I would put it in the words, back in those days, we thought of friendship and staying together and having fun, some good laughs and all that stuff. That was fun, but today the fun is, how much money can you make? And I'm going to tell you one thing. I've had the pleasure of doing both of them, but the one I've enjoyed most was being around all my buddies and all of them laughing and cutting up and telling jokes and running out and having fun. That was the life. That was the real, true life of Doug Sanders.
And who were your pals back in the day, who you hung out with?
Oh, Ray Floyd and Arnold Palmer and all the guys. But I had a lot of guys as I came on the tour, like Dutch Harrison and Porky Oliver, some of those guys, that people today wouldn't even have heard of. But when I came on the tour, the first professional tournament I ever played in, I was 22 years of age. And playing in a professional tournament, I never played in a professional tournament. I had a friend of mine I met, his name was Brad Street from Canada, and I named my son after him. And I went to college and I was winning a lot of tournaments. And he didn't want me to think about turning pro, but what else could I do? I'd only gone 3 years in college. It was the tough courses. I had underwater basket weaving and social dancing and bait casting, courses that, not really. But, so he wanted me to play as an amateur. And he invited me to Canada to play, and he said, I want you to come up here and play in a tournament, the largest tournament we have in Canada, called Canadian Open. Canadian Open, I'm 22 years of age and never played a professional tournament, and I won it. That's like, I don't know what. I couldn't even think about anything you could even match it to.
Yeah.
And so from there, that got my start going. And then it just moved in all directions. But then the part of my life in that was one of the greatest things. After winning the Canadian Open, they have a tournament called the Tournament of Champions. And it's in, where was it? Las Vegas. Where all the movie stars, Sinatra and Sammy Davis and Dean Martin and Andy Williams, and everybody was there. So I went there to play in the tournament, and I met all of those guys. Boy, we drank and partied and all the things around and had a great time. And that started my life being running with a Rat Pack.
Yeah.
All my life I spent doing things like that. That was never heard of.
It sounds terrible.
Yeah. But we were friends, and Frank has stayed at my house, and I've stayed at his house, and Dean Martin and Sammy Davis and Andy Williams. If you named a movie star, they pretty well stayed at my house. Had a great guest house, 2 bedrooms and 2 baths and living room and all that thing. But they wouldn't call and never find out to see if the penthouse was open at the Ritz-Carlton or the Hilton Hotel or whatever. They want to stay at the guest house. We had great parties there. Phyllis Diller, Oral Roberts stayed there one weekend. Bob Newhart,
Yeah.
Andy Wynn. It just goes on and on and on. And one weekend, I think Bob Newhart and Ed McMahon were staying two bedrooms, different bedrooms, and the town car picked them up at noon and took them to the airport. And my wife and I, we got to go to the other airport and pick up Oral Roberts for a week. If you don't think that's not a little change of pace. And one time I came home 2 hours early and surprised my wife. I got on an earlier flight and I was supposed to be at 10. I came in at 8, about 8:30, opened the door. Phyllis Diller's playing the piano and Sammy Davis out on the floor dancing. I didn't know either one of them was standing there. But that's the way it was all the time. And the fun we had to laugh. Money could have never bought any of that in the world. So that's the life I've lived, that I have truly, God has just blessed me so much with that.
That's pretty incredible stuff. I mean, the players now couldn't even reach that kind of thing.
Oh, no. How big is your airplane? You don't have a helicopter yet? Oh, are you thinking about a yacht? Well, you know, I don't know. They have their own ways of living their life they want to, and that's their life. But they're kind of a little more shallow. Nice people, nice guys. But they feel like they got, which they do, you know, they don't want to get over here and do that and have to do that and sign pictures and all the other things. But they got their own life to live the way they want to live it. You know, I don't blame them, you know, for anything. But only thing I know that I had somewhat an opportunity to live, winning 20 tournaments, as they did. But the life I lived, running with a rat pack, and all those people, all the time. I have probably 100 letters, postcards from Phyllis Diller. And whatever you see on them, on the front, she writes one line about them on the back. And they're so funny that I got them all in the posters, you know, and everything. But I have 184 letters from the White House, from different presidents, from the presidents and their wives, and so forth. I've got all the astronauts' gloves that's walked on the moon. I got the last 8 presidents' golf bags signed. But it just goes on and on and on. And they say when you die, the only thing you can carry with you is what you gave away. And I just want to give back something other to the world that has been so wonderful to me. And it all started out because I got my biggest start when the Canadian Open, but I started a junior golf program. And I've had a lot of guys, Andy McGee and Billy Merrifield and Steve Elkind, and it goes on and on and on. That's won my tournament. And I've helped many, 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 many kids get scholarships. And so I've tried to give back something of their life. It's not all just take and not giving back anything. So that's one of the things right now that I'm looking to do. And one of the biggest things that I'm looking to do is 2 things, is to continue my junior golf program. And I want to take all my memorabilia. I'm looking right now to put it in a museum. And I would love for, I've won more professional tournaments than anybody in the state of Georgia. That's where I'm from. And I would like to think about if the mayor or someone in Georgia would call me and set it up or something other, and have them to come and talk to me about all my stuff. And I've got it around the world. And all the places where I've got it stored, you know, in the warehouses and all that stuff, because I don't want to just get it out and get it, someone try to take it away from me.
Not just your golf stuff, but all the other stuff as well, like the Rat Pack pictures and all that?
Oh, I've got thousands of pictures like that. You would never believe in the world what I do have. And all the guys, you couldn't believe what, in my other house I had 8,640 square feet, but not enough room. So, but I'm looking for a place to put this. And I'd also like to leave some money to it. I've assigned a $500,000 insurance policy to it. But so if someone in Georgia, Texas, something like that, if I could do that, that would be the biggest goal of my life right now. So they need to get in touch with me, and they'd have to go around and check all the places, because I'm not, you know, having it all in one storage place. But so if anybody thinks that they want to see something that's the greatest thing in the world, you call little old Dougie Sanders and come down to Houston, Texas,
Yeah.
and we'll talk.
You've been told. Everybody's been told now. So, Doug, what was the biggest highlight of your career, do you think?
That's a great question. I've had so many wonderful things. I'll tell you one thing that has been a great plunge like this that has been in my life that I can always think about, especially when I look up in the air and see these fighter planes. I was playing golf one time with Andy Williams in his tournament. I'd bring down a bunch of people to San Diego every year and play down there, and Andy would do a great show, everything. And I'm playing, and there's a Miramar. There's an airport right over where we played there. And they got all the fighter pilots and everything in there. And I'm getting ready to play in the Pro-Am. We hit off the first hole and walking down, and here comes a fighter plane right over the top of us. And I'm walking with one of the guys, and I said, boy, that looks like that'd be a lot of fun. He says, Doug, would you like to do that? I said, yeah, how can you? He said, I'm a commander over there. I said, you are? Well, he got my attention quick. And so he told me to come over there and we'd work out something that we did. And I went up. I think it was the Phantom F4. I got up in Phantom F4, the F-102. I got 3 traps off the USS America and the F-14. I flew the F-15, the F-16, the F-18, the F-111, the B-1, the U-2, the replica of the Wright brothers plane. I spent 7.5 hours on a nuclear sub. All those things. I mean, the life I've lived in that, that's been a great thrill. That's in another part of golf, you know.
I hope somebody was with you all times taking pictures of everything, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got all those pictures with the mask and everything on. And then I have my own spacesuit and everything. But, you know, in the golfing world, there have been so many outstanding things that's happened there. It would be hard to try to find a piece of it. But one of the greatest things that I've always enjoyed everybody playing golf in foreign countries and the United States. But for one great reason, I have a real feel for Europe. Because of all the things over there, and a lot of great friends I've had there that I met, and a lot of the great golfers in the world and everything there when I was a young kid coming up. But one of the greatest things was to be able to go over there and play in the tournaments. And Nicklaus beat me in one stroke in the British Open, I think in 1966, I believe it was. And I remember the shot, the 11th hole at, where did we play that? You'd have to find my memory there. But it's a fairly short par 4 downhill. The grass was high. And I got in there and I took a 6-iron. And I caught the grass going back a little bit and hooded my club. When I hit it, I was trying to shoot this way, but it went bump right over here. I double bogeyed the hole. But if I had parred the hole, I would have won that tournament. So those are the type of things, you know, makes you remember things that you don't want to. And then, of course, the tragedy of all in my life, whenever that I go by, and then this brings back a little part how those guys feel that has been more successful financially than Doug. When I look up and see one of the fighter planes and all that thing, and I just think, well, if I made that putt at St. Andrews, that'd have been my plane up there, you know.
Yeah.
But that was one of the most tragic things that has stayed in my mind so much. Someone says, Doug, you ever think about that putt you missed? I said, no. I says, sometimes I go as high as 5 minutes without even thinking about it. You know? But it's amazing how little things come back. But I'll tell you one unusual story about that. It is amazing, ladies and gentlemen, that how many people didn't know who beat me in the tournament. Jack Nicklaus, the greatest player of all. Well, Doug, who won the tournament that year? They didn't even know it was Jack.
Yeah.
They remember that I missed a putt. But, of course, everybody remembers Jack Nicklaus because he's not only been one of the greatest golfers in the world, but one of the nicest gentlemen. He and his family, Barbara's a sweet lady. So those are the type of things that I feel like I have been a great part of is the other people's, you know, their lives that I've been around. And, you know, who can ever think of anyone being a nicer guy than Arnold Palmer? But they all are. And I've had the pleasure of playing with all of them, you know, all over the world. And it's a game that you're close to. It's like a family sport. It's the only game that you can talk and play at the same time. You know, guy hit a shot and says, "Oh, by the way, how's your sister? She's playing on the tour." Yeah. But now a guy getting ready to throw a football in a football game, a touchdown pass. "Oh, is your mom doing okay?" Yeah. So, but you can get out there and talk and laugh and cut up and enjoy it, and you can have fun about it.
One of the things we always say at GolfPunk is brilliant about golf is the fact that you have to call your own mistakes and penalties. You know, you don't have an umpire, you don't have a referee, so it makes we kind of have this mantra that it makes people better people if they play golf.
Oh, by all means. I mean, you're out there yourself, and you can move that ball if you want to, but it's up to you then. There's the little thing I've always remembered is it's called the man in the mirror. And talking about, you know, you can be liked and there are all the other things, but if you can't face the man in the mirror, you know, you're nothing but a bum. And I've gone by that mirror a lot of times, and I've thought about things, and I'm proud of the fact of the things I can look up there and say, "Hey, I like you." But don't let me kid you. I've gone by and said, "I won't look at you either." So there's no halo, you know, over my head by any means, and I've lived on both sides of that street. But it has been a game. I don't think there'll ever be a game like the game of golf. The kids can play, and that's one of the things today. They got these young men and women coming up. It is unbelievable how well that they can play, and starting off at a young age, and they can get up there a little longer, and by the time they're 12 or 14 or something. And that was the greatest start I had. When I was 17, I shot 29 in a high school tournament. I held out 2 clubs. I held out a wedge and an 8-iron for 2 eagles, shooting a 29, and they knew I could play, so they sent me off. Now, my mom and dad had to pick 100 pounds of cotton a day for $1. That's what we lived on. And unfortunately, it's a sad story to tell, but a true story. My father was telling me he was 4 years of age. My sister was 3. We lived on a farm, and the truck brought the coal by and poured out for all the farmers, you know, every 3 or 4 weeks, and they paid them, you know, so much. They came by and poured the coal out, and my brother, 4, he found a little thing in there, and he thought it was a firecracker. Was kidding my sister about shooting it with a firecracker, and she ran in the kitchen and told Mom, and he lit it with a splinter. It wasn't a firecracker, it was a dynamite cup. He blew both of his eyes out and his fingers off. My other brother went in the Marine Corps in Vietnam. He was blind all of his life. He died at 69. And my other brother went in the Marine Corps, I think at 18, Vietnam, hand grenade, blew his arm off. And he didn't die then, but he died at a fairly young age. And I started looking for golf balls, nickels and dime, walking 2.5 miles in the morning, 2.5 miles back at night with no shoes. I didn't have my own shoes till about 12. But finally, we started getting around the back. The caddies weren't allowed to play. We only had 9 holes. And we got some old holes we dug out and took old wooden clubs and put in. Well, my nickels and dimes didn't last very long. It went in their pockets. I went up that street every night broke. And those lightning bugs, they looked like ghosts, and I'd run the last mile and go to sleep with my clothes on, get up in the morning, you know, still sleep, to walk back to the golf course, to go to sleep on the doorstep, to look for golf balls early when the sun came up. But so finally I got to the point, I said, well, this is not working out. And I don't mind walking, but I got tired of going up there and broke. And I started practicing, chipping and putting everything. They never knew anything about it. And this went on for months. And one time, there was 4 of us scattered all week long, and we $5 a piece. Now that was like $1 million a day to a caddy, okay? And I said, come on, let's go chip and putt. Come on, sucker, we haven't had any money in a long time. Well, that night, I want to tell you, one of the greatest feelings of my life, I walked up that road, and I got those 4 $5 bills in my pocket. Well, I went down to buy myself a pair of shoes. I got a pair of shoes. I'm walking down the street, and I think everybody in the car is looking at my shoes. I'm trying to get my feet out there a little further and show them my new shoes. Proud guy I was. So that got me pumped up and started. And the pro took a liking to me.
How old were you then?
I was 17.
17, yeah.
No, I was about 15 then. And then the pro took a liking to me and let me then go right along the edge of the fairway and practice. We didn't have a driving range. Then I'd put dirt back in the hole. And so finally, they wanted me to go up to qualify for a tournament in Augusta, Georgia, one of the biggest junior tournaments. I didn't have any money. Have it $3 or $4. Went down, stayed with my buddy, and I qualified. Came back to my little hometown, Cedartown, and the finals in Durham, North Carolina, at the Duke University. You stayed, but I got nowhere to get there. And 10 men got together and gave me $10 apiece. Went up there, stayed at Duke University. We played 2 matches a day for about 5 days, and I won the championship. And it was a strange thing of what happened. These are great laughs and moments of your life you never forget. I'm standing there holding the trophy, and the big trophy and everything, and Miss North Carolina is standing there. And she says, Miss North Carolina, give the National Junior a kiss. And she bent over and kissed my lips and taking all those pictures. I don't know, I'm 17 years of age, you know. And a few minutes later, she said, give him another kiss. She gave me another kiss. All these questions. I don't know how much time later. I said, now this time, you're kissing too quick. She says, just put your lips together and hold them until we get some pictures. So our lips are just stuck together, you know, and I'm holding the trophy and so forth. Well, I don't know what's happening. Well, finally now, I came back to my little hometown. They had a Doug Sanders Day and a parade. They came out now on Golf World the next week. Here I am, holding the trophy, Miss North Carolina, lips and I right together. And underneath it says, the National Junior Champ and Miss North Carolina playing post office. Well, that came to my hometown, and all the little girls running around, hey, Doug, and they did a movie about it, you know.
That was the start of your Playboy lifestyle.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. All the things happened from there. So that kind of gave me, you know, the jumping start to go from there. And all the colleges wanted me because they knew I could win. So I went off to the University of Florida, and that's 3 years, and then on to win the Canadian Open. So all of those things, there was a little plug in everything that moved me. But the biggest thing I never felt like that I'd ever reached the top. I think you got to set goals that are hard to reach but are reachable. And once you reach them, you got to meet new goals. If you don't, you're not. If you think that you're going a little bit up like that, I think just sliding along, you can cold bet one thing, you're going the other way. So I've always had things like that. Nothing has ever pleased me until I can get further and further and further. I've set some goals that have just been unbelievable about the things that I've done, and I'm proud about them because I worked hard. And I think if you don't work hard and dedicate yourself, you're never going to get where you want to go. You think you might get close, but not where you want to go.
One of the things that is said about you was in the past, you could unleash your swing in a phone box because it was a short backswing, right?
Well,
is that true?
Well, the thing, I have probably the ideal swing for a weekend player. To take your pen here for an example, I got a better chance opening my fingers like this to take my pen right there and drop it and let it land between my 2 fingers than I do from up here. So what I did, by having a short swing, I had a wider stance. So I had a lot more power right in there. Now, Rocky Marciano could stagger a horse with a 6-inch punch, but he couldn't break your nose with his feet right together, hitting you this way. But with his feet together, wide, with all that power right there, I've broken 17 driver shafts on a downswing, snapping the head and everything off of it. So I think that was the secret of my game, and not true, but they said when I was school and everything, and on the tour, and they says, I hit the ball so straight, says, only time I ever left the fairway was just get a phone number from some good-looking girl. Part of it is true, but
yeah.
no.
Oh, I think that's pretty true, right?
Yeah. But anyway, that was a way that I was able to keep the ball in the fairway, but I was also, with that short swing, I could maneuver it real easy. So my club was always going from here to there. I never had to go from here turn over. Now look at Hogan. Every time you seen Hogan, boy, his swing was always up here. But he never let his club go this way. He played from here to here, this way.
Yeah.
So those are the secrets of the things. You know, we're talking about you got to release. You know, well, when you wouldn't throw a dart like that, you throw a dart like this. So I was always able to keep the ball on play, and that's one of the great secrets that I had.
And your club head speed was obviously good, anyway.
Oh yes, because it was going right down that same line every time. But I think a lot of the teachers today, well, you got to turn, you got to turn. Well, you never turn this way. You turn underneath. You don't ever go back like this. And again, like I said, throwing a dart, you never throw it like this. You throw it like this because you're on target more. And those are the little secrets that I had. Not that I didn't tell anybody, but they could see it. But you know, but they never thought, you know, it was what it was. But I think it's a lot easier, especially get people started. Kids all started short, and everything, and then they can build up to it as they get a little stronger.
So you were also known as the peacock of the fairways, and still are, I believe. What do you think about the new guys like Poulter and Ricky Fowler and what they're bringing to the sport?
Well, I think that they all look good. And look at it. I'm right now, there's a few things I want to do. And one thing I would love to do, and I think I've got some great ideas. I mean, I've been around the clothesline, you know, a long time. And they call me the peacock because I got it because of all the colors that I wore. And I was thinking about today wearing pink or purple or something other, but I didn't, you know, well, I didn't really want to do that, you know, today. But I do have the shirt that has the peacock.
Yeah, that's nice.
On it. But what I wanted to do, I want to do a line of clothes, the Doug Sanders and Lady Sanders. So if I've got a shirt and a sweater that's blue or pink or purple or brown or black or whatever, I want to do the same thing with the women. And maybe shorts for the women, maybe slacks for the men. You can even do the shoes. But you could get the women with their husbands, honey, look at that blue, wouldn't that be? But you can do just little casual shirts, I mean, sport coats, you know, with the peacock and everything out there. You could have that peacock going, you know, different ways. I think it would be a super buyer.
Yeah.
I think the people would do it because they enjoy that, but do it together, you know, where they, you know, there they are, man and wife, a girlfriend and boyfriend, and the same type things. I think they would certainly enjoy.
I'm in.
Be that together.
GolfPunk's in.
So, okay, now it's up to the people where they got the next thing called, Dougie, we'll do a line of clothes.
One of the questions we like to ask is, who would play you in a movie? Which actor would play you in a movie?
Well, I got to tell you something. Kevin Costner one time told me, he said, Sanders, you're the only guy I know. He said, I'd probably play your live story free if I could play the real Doug Sanders. I said, if you did, we'd both get shot. but he's, Kevin, I played a lot of golf with him. What a great man he is. But all those guys that I met, you know, on out there, Andy Williams and Engelbert Humperdinck and Bob Goulet, I mean, everybody, they all had something nice about them. But one thing they had in common, they all loved to play golf. But you don't find a real bad dude out there to play golf, you know, cussing everybody and breaking every club. They might play with him once, but after that, you know, oh, no, I'm sorry, I can't play today, I'm busy. But I think someone like, I'd be honored if someone like Kevin Costner did something like that, but a bunch of them, I think, would like to play the real part.
Yeah.
But I had a time out there that, you know, you couldn't begin to tell the stories, really the things there. But it was a great time of anyone's life. And I'm just so blessed that I've been able to live that part in the time that we are living today.
I mean, you said you played golf with some of the presidents.
Oh yes, I played golf with a lot of the presidents, and one king, and I played golf with, and around the golf, and chipping and putting with about 3 of them, but I played golf with 10 of them.
Yeah. Who was the best? Who could play?
Well, the best person that played in that department wasn't president, vice president, was Dan Quayle. But now, President Bush, Senior, had a good swing. He was a great player whenever he was younger. I played with him. And a lot of the guys that, that I played with, President Ford, he loved to play. They asked me one time, they says, well, I'm playing with him in the Bob Pope tournament, and they always paired me, with someone of that nature. And on one hole, first time he'd ever played, paired me with him at Indian Wells. He knocked the ball over the guy's heads on the cart path. Well, the caddy handed him a 3-wood and knew he could drop it off the cart path and go to a long par 4. Well, I'm walking over here with Barbara Eden, the beauty queen, and he walked away, the caddy walked away and gave President Ford the club, the wood club, and he didn't know it could drop off the cart path. And he hit that thing right on the side and went flying, hit me right upside the head, knocked me down, I'm bleeding and everything. But he was such a nice gentleman, but they said that he averaged about 17 stitches a tournament.
I hope he bought you a drink after the game.
Oh, he and I spent a lot of time together and played, and I went to the White House an awful lot, and I stayed at Camp David, Kennebunkport, and all those places. And to be able to do something like that, from living in a little town I did, to go to places like that and play golf, and I played golf with one king, King Hassan in Morocco. So those are the type of things that I am just so proud of. But the people that I met, I mean, they're like, I'm from the South, we always stop and say hello to everybody. So, but it was, and that's what they are out there. Those presidents and vice presidents, some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. I mean, we're friends, pay each other on the back and tell stories and have drinks and so forth. So the life I've lived, I couldn't ask for anything any better.
Well, Doug Saunders, we're GolfPunk, and you're our kind of soldier, and it's been a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And again, let me just tell everybody in Europe that I want to say thank you for letting me come out and y'all coming out and watching us all play and the things that you've been part of to make this game so great. And my love is to all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, this is my Happy Gilmore. I can get this up to, the best I've seen is 132 mile/h clubhead speed. Did you get that? Was it too quick for you?